No problem. No problem.
Okay. Are you still able to see my screen by any chance?
I do not see it.
You can't see it.
It keeps booting me out of the meeting, and I don't know why. Let me try one more time. See if this works.
Yeah, worst case, what we could do, Holly, is we could maybe email it, the presentation over to Patrick, and maybe he could put it up.
I could.
Yeah, that's
Well.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm.
So as Holly's working on getting that set up, everybody, how is the stock market game going so far? You guys have begun?
No, they've begun very minimal. They just finished, and I'm gonna let them share with you. We designed their businesses and companies. So
okay, awesome.
You're meeting business owners that they're going to incorporate the stock market game from an investment standpoint, as well as as a retirement tool. So they're going to do two things. They're going to be able to understand the process, but it's going to coincide with their companies that they've made. So I'm going to share their companies with you real briefly as well, so you can understand where we are with things and how they're doing everything from a learning standpoint. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. Give me 1 second. Which one is it, Carly? It's All Stars? Yeah, All Stars. All
right. I got kicked out again.
Yeah, if you send it to me, Holly, I could share it from there.
Okay, perfect. I'm sorry about that, Patrick. I don't know why I keep getting kicked. Make sure I send you the right one.
All right, so I'm gonna let. Can you see what I'm presenting right now?
Yes. Yep. The All-Star Sports Apparel. Got it.
So I'm gonna let Carlito explain briefly, and then this is Carlito again. This is Henry, and this is Yakim. We're missing Markeisha and Michael right now. We'll explain how their company, what we're doing, and how we're going to incorporate the stock market game after this presentation today into their business. Okay, so probably let's talk about it briefly.
Awesome.
Please. Perfect. I got a bit. They can see. Oh no, I got it. Just probably just go over there. I'll take care of this. Okay. All right. So just explain it to them, please.
Hey, Carlito.
How you doing?
Awesome. Right. So this is the company you came up with, or your team did?
Yeah, it is the company that we have come up with. We have talked about it and agreed on doing sports apparel. So we name it All-Star because you want to be an all-star in sports, right? Or a Hall of Famer. So
well said. Yep.
Touch the screen and I'll call it for you.
Yeah,
just touch it. Just touch it anywhere.
Anyway.
I don't see. Hold on. I think it's people. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so it was just showing the front right here of the staff t-shirt that they would get. And basically it's just the name, the thing. We didn't finish yet, it's still a work in progress. The picture from Suits and Seniors. We got me standing next to Mr. Glover, Henry in the middle, Yakim standing by I forgot his name.
Mr. DJ Reggie D, X102.3.
Yeah. DJ Reggie D. All right. And basically our buddy Tay Edmonds or Javante Tay Edmonds has blessed us with the suits and Mr. Glover for the opportunity, of course.
Yeah, so it's an 8-week program, Tyler, and the 8-week program consists of Suits for Seniors. So we talk about them about the business etiquette, attire, and things of that nature, which getting them ready for this next level. We also have them involved in something called My Career. My Career, designing curriculum just for my class, just for my company, just for us and the students, just for them for business. So at each level, they obtain certifications and certificates whether it's workplace ethics, business practices, resume writing, leadership curriculum, writing and leadership, introduction to business, workplace ethics as mentioned, so forth and so on. So again, this today will take their expertise and skills to a whole nother level because we're grooming them to be with the tire etiquette and all that great stuff. That makes sense?
Yeah, does completely makes sense. That's awesome. I've actually heard of the My Career before. That's great that you guys are doing that.
Yep. And that's where we're at. So I'll let, were you able to send it to me yet, Holly?
Yes, I did send it to you. I'm gonna see if it went through.
Yep.
Yeah, it looks.
Hold on.
Yeah, it looks like it sent. I'm not sure if it hit your computer yet.
Got it.
Okay, great.
Second.
Mhm.
Great presentation.
Okay, Patrick, you said you got it, or?
Yeah, I got it.
Not-
Give me one second. I'm gonna put it on right now. I tell you, it's technology. When you need it to move fast and move slow.
Technology. Oh, Holly, I think I'm hearing an echo coming from your side. I think it might have just stopped.
Sorry, yes, that was me. I'm trying to figure out how to get this on my phone.
There you
Oh,
go.
great.
All right.
Yes, awesome. Thank you so much, Patrick.
You're welcome.
Perfect. All right. So, Carlito, Joaquim, and Henry, myself and Holly today have some exciting things to go over with you that is very important, right, for all of you in your future. Thank you to your teacher, Mr. Glover, as he has taken the time to set up this presentation for you. And I mean, the point of this presentation ultimately comes down to this being able to help you all with your individual financial success, right, well after school. So to start, we will introduce ourselves, where we're from, where we work, what we do for work, and then we'll share maybe what saving and investing has meant to both of us personally. So Holly, you want me to kick things off here?
Yeah, go ahead, Tyler.
Perfect. All right. So my name, I mean, you probably see it come up on the screen there, is Tyler Alvarez. I'm from New York, out here on the wonderful Long Island. I went to college out here at a school called Stony Brook University. I did my undergraduate degree there in finance, as well as my MBA, which stands for Masters of Business Administration in Finance. I currently work at a company called Bank of America Merrill Lynch. I am a financial advisor, portfolio advisor here. That meaning that I work with individuals and their families in managing their wealth and money. So at Merrill Lynch, I mean, I manage our clients' wealth, by the process of what we call financial planning, which is essentially determining what actions that our clients should be taking in order to meet their financial goals that they set out before themselves. Our clients are involved in the stock market, so that is something that I do work with every single day, pretty much, at work. Saving and investing has meant a lot to me, aside from what I do for a living. Personally, saving and investing has been very, very important to me. It has allowed me to do things that I want to do in life. For example, buying a car, buying an apartment, paying off some student loans from college. But most importantly, it's allowed me to feel financially secure. Meaning that if I were to lose my job right tomorrow, I know that I would be in a safe place until I was able to determine my next move. So that's a little bit of a background on me. We'll let Holly go over her background, and then we'll kick things off here.
Hey, real quick, if we could all mute our mics and each other speaking, it would eliminate the echo, okay?
Perfect.
Are you hearing an echo now?
When there's two or more mics on, it just naturally through digital analytics, it does an echo. So if we could just all mute our mics and one is not talking, and eliminate the echo.
Yeah, I think you're good, Holly. We'll mute ourselves.
Okay, sounds good. All right, well, great. My name is Holly Logan. Hi, everyone. I graduated from Johns Hopkins University in 2019 with a degree in political science and a minor in economics. And right out of college, I started working at Broadridge Financial, and I still work there today. We specialize in investor communications and global trade operations. Basically do a lot of the technology that is needed to support banks. So we help a lot with that. And then similar to what Tyler was saying, saving and investing is really important to me just because, you know, I have goals of buying a house one day. Right now I live in an apartment, so I have to be able to pay my lease every month. And then I also need a car so that I can go to work and, you know, do some things in my social life as well, like drive to my family's house, go see friends. So all of that requires a steady flow of money and just being financially sound, and saving is a huge part of that. And we're going to go into a bit of detail as we go along in this presentation. But so nice to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. So I guess, Patrick, we can go to the next slide. So we hope at the end of our time together today, you take away some things that we go over so you feel more comfortable about investing and saving, so you can start to build your own wealth so that you one day can get a car, you know, start to pay for an apartment, etc. The stock market game that our partner Sarah, either she did go over or she will be going over, will help you start to understand investing and how it works exactly. So I think that, Patrick, it might be a couple more slides in.
Okay, Holly, just guide me through and tell me when to stop, okay?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so this is where we want to be. What would you do with $100? So I want to make this a little engaging because I would love to hear your thoughts. So for our discussion's sake, if we were each to give you $100, what would you each do with it? And
We can't hear you, Holly. Holly, we can't hear you. Your mic, look at your mic and see if it's muted.
Hey, Holly, if you could hear us, we can't hear you.
Can't hear you, Holly.
I don't think she realized.
Yeah, give her a call.
Yeah, I'm letting her know that we can't hear her. I'll pick it up from here. So, Patrick, if you could just go back one more slide.
Okay, give me 1 second. Is that good?
All right. So, yeah, that's perfect. So what Holly was going over is for our discussion
sorry
today.
about that. My phone disconnected. Tyler, could you tell me where we left off when it cut out?
Yeah. You could pick up from where you started, pretty much on this slide you cut out.
Okay. So just for discussion's sake, if I were to give you each $100, what would you do with it? There's no right or wrong answer. It could be, you know, you buy something, you go to dinner with it, a fancy dinner. You can donate it, whatever comes to mind.
Well, personally, what I would do, because I'm kind of short behind on the bill, I would put that into the bill. So,
Okay, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Like I said, no wrong or right answer. It depends on every individual. Anyone else want to share?
If I had $100, I'll put 50 in my savings and 50 in my checking. I split that half and half. If anybody give me money or it's a paycheck, I'm gonna just like, you know what I'm saying, keep splitting it to my checking and savings, like save it, take some money out so I can like spend on myself. Yeah, like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really good idea. It's good that you have saving some of it in time. Anyone else want to share?
I'll probably save it or invest it.
Sorry, what was the second part? You said save it or
Invest it.
invest it. Great. That's a good answer. That's awesome. Tyler,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yes. So for those of you that would save, right? I think Yakim, right, and Henry, I know you guys mentioned it specifically. So how would you save that money? I think Yakim, you mentioned, right, half in the savings account, half in the checking account. Henry, what about you? Do you like have a savings account that you would put it in? Would you, I mean, just save it in cash? What would you do?
I want to have a bank account, so I'll probably save it in cash.
Okay. All right. I mean, I think this might be the next slide, Patrick, as I'm talking, if you just want to go to the next one. So it sounds like, Henry, I know you mentioned saving and investing. So I wanted to gauge your guys' opinions on what do you guys think the difference is between saving and investing? Does anybody want to answer that?
I think investing is like you're investing for something later in life. Like you're wanting something, you're investing something in savings. You probably
Yeah.
like savings. I don't know how to explain that, but
Yeah.
investing, you're saving for something that you're wanting, or it's gonna help you in life, something like that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Kind of the difference that I was getting out is right along of the lines of what you were saying. Saving is utilized primarily for the short term, and investing is utilized primarily for the long term. It's definitely important to know that it's never really one or the other, and that both saving and investing should be used together, right, to meet your goals. So an example of that, right, is saving is great to put money away that you know will be spent in the short term, right, or money that could have a chance of being spent in the short term. If an emergency came up and you needed money maybe to pay for what that emergency costs. So with saving your money isn't really at risk, but you don't really earn anything on that money as well, as that money is just sitting there, whether it's under your mattress in a piggy bank or in a savings account, waiting for you to use it. Could one of you guys maybe tell me why it might not be great to just save all of your money, let's say in a bank account or under the mattress? Does anybody want to take a stab at that?
Maybe it would be some type of fee and they can take something out or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So, you know what, another follow-up question, and I could answer this for you guys, but has anybody in the room heard of the word inflation before?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. So what inflation is, right? Inflation is the rise in price level of an economy over a period of time. And I know that might sound confusing, right, just as a statement. So the best way to put it is by using an example. So something that costs $2 today, with inflation over time, might cost $5 in a year or two. So let's say, right, a pack of gum costs $2 today. Inflation, what that does to the price of that pack of gum is over time, the price of the pack of gum will rise. So this term, right, inflation that exists out there essentially reduces the value of your money saved because the $2, let's say, that you saved is no longer enough money to buy that thing that you wanted because now it costs $5 a year later. To deal with inflation is really where investing can really make a difference. Investing allows your money to grow rather than just sitting there and rotting to this inflation. The goal with investing is generally to beat out inflation, right? You want your money to grow faster than the rate of inflation so that you're building wealth rather than losing it and losing money. So the trade-off for that is investing usually comes with some risk, though, in comparison to savings. As I mentioned before, savings, there's not too much risk involved, but with investing, there could be risk. The reason I say that is because most savings, if you have them right at a bank account up to a certain level, those dollars that you saved are insured by the bank. So let's say something were to happen to the bank where, the bank goes out of business or somebody comes in and, robs all the money. You would be insured to get your money back from the bank. With investments, when you put money into an investment, there is sometimes a chance that you might lose some of your money, but also you could lose potentially all of your money as well with some investments. So, Patrick, let's go. I think it might be 1 or 2 forward on the slides. Just as I continue.
Okay.
All right, so we could go to the next one. All right, so we can stay right here. So could somebody in the class tell me what are some things that you might be able to invest in? And it's okay, I'm not looking for right answers. I mean, whatever you think are things you might be able to invest in, just shout them out.
Companies. Just shout them out. Hey, real quick, Tyler, just to interrupt and interject, and Holly, please say hello and give a thank you in one regard to our principal, Mr. Jetty, one of the greatest principals in Palm Beach County School District history. He afforded us the opportunity to make all this happen. He's always silent, but he's when he pushes the pencil, he makes sure everything's come to fruition. So our students, we always send praises to him, but just let's extend the olive branch to him.
Hi.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you all. Thank you all. It's all about the student and what we can do for them.
Yeah. Awesome. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Yep, Patrick, were you going to say something?
Come again, Tyler?
Oh yeah, no, I thought I heard you talking. So we'll get back to the slide. So on how do you invest, right? So I'm not sure who called something out. Yeah, can you just say that a little louder?
Like for example, it's just like
Go to the board. You can go on.
invest. In my opinion, I feel like an example of invest is like if I go buy a gold chain today, and then I could buy it. If I don't want it no more, I could resell it, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Invest.
Yeah.
Is that like something like investing or something like that? There.
Yeah. So that's a good example. So that was actually one of the things that I was going to bring up in a sense is gold, right? You mentioned a gold chain. So gold is something that can be invested in, right? Whether you maybe buy gold and have it physically and that rises in value and then maybe you sell it off for more money than what you bought it for, or you could also buy gold intangibly or not owning the actual piece of gold, but owning a stake, in gold that's out there, which I'll talk about in a little bit more detail because that could be a little confusing. So does anybody else have some other things that you might be able to invest in? Have you guys heard of maybe like stocks or any of the cryptocurrencies that are out there? Anything like that?
Tyler, I heard someone say company. before, which was a great answer. Yeah, awesome.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Carlito, that is a good answer. So that would be stocks, right? If you could invest in a company, you would be buying, right, a stock or multiple, shares of stock in that company. So, I mean, what I'm really trying to get at here, and I appreciate all of your input, there are different ways to invest, right? Today, as Carlito mentioned, companies, we're actually going to focus on investing in companies through stock. So, Patrick, if you could just go to the next slide, Holly's going to pick it up from there.
Okay, give me 1 second.
You got it.
I guess while Patrick is getting that pulled up, does anyone know what the definition of a company is? I know we're all familiar with what a company is, but the definition might be a little tricky. But anyone have any ideas?
Like a franchise, probably.
Tell them about your company, the LLC. Come on, you gotta stand up, Carlito. Tell them about your company. What do you have? Hold on real quick, Carlito. Hold on real quick, Carlito. Let me go back because I don't think you were on for this part. They have their own companies, so they're actually business owners.
While you're presenting on their slide, and you exit out of ours.
So I guess I'll also ask, what are some of your favorites while we're at it? Oh, yes.
This is their business, and it's what kind of company is it, Carlito?
It's selling sports.
No, Carlito. What type of is it? An incorporation, a LLC? What type of company?
Oh, it's an LLC.
Okay, talk to her. Let her know.
Well, I'm not really familiar, but it did do it. So, congrats to ourselves. Basically, it's going to be sports apparel, like any type of clothing that can help you during your physical game, mental game, or just your all-out appearance. And you're gonna have to do it from the keyboard again. Okay. Basically, we just have the front and back of the staff T-shirt. The front of it, the name of the company with the LLC. Then we have the picture of us, the suits for seniors with our certificates. And all this is because of Jetty and Mr. Lover over here. So,
and explain the certificates. What does that do?
All right, it improves our status of like knowing what we're going to need for the business, but we also, skills. Yeah, it's the skills and basically what we need to learn and that stuff. But we have been going through it. We got some of this stuff now.
Yeah, this is so great. Thank you.
Let them know. What is this?
All right, so it's still a work in progress, but basically we will have the company site where it's under it, and we're gonna have the company card right there, which is on the bottom left corner. So if we go on that, it will bring us to our site, and it would.
Hold on, I'm gonna go there right now. And excuse some of the videos, Holly. We had to modify some of them so they're not playing right now. So definitely excuse us on that. We had the students make marketing material as well. Most of them made it in 2 to 3 different languages: French Creole, Espanol, Spanish, and English. We're teaching them about the trilingual marketing efforts and how you got to cater to just different genres, dialects, so you reach that full profit maximization.
This is fantastic.
All right, this is their website right here. And again, like I mentioned, we wanted to throw everything in there so our students, when it's time for them to be funded, when it's time for them to have what they need, I think you can scroll up and down.
All right. All right. So it's still working on it.
Work in progress.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. And basically, we're gonna have all the names that we had on the first slide of the presentation of our business plan, and basically, it's going to be talking about what we're going to be selling. We have the we winning, which is Mr. Glover.
Yeah, we came up with a concept. As you can see, we have tennis on the wall. So any of you in the New York region, we just rolled out tennis club. And the tennis club is you have to pledge, make a pledge every day in tennis practice. We make a pledge of a coin word. And you can use this word every tennis practice, every tournament. And for years, I coined an educational term called we're winning. And we say we winning. And in French Creole is guiñen. And in Espanol Spanish is estamos ganando bien grande, mucho, mucho, mucho. Okay, and I always tell the students that no matter what, no matter where we're at in life, we're winning under any circumstances. You know, you could give us the bare minimum. I'm going to give them the tools that they need to know how to win. Okay, so when you see we winning, and then over the years, probably about 5.5, 6 years since I coined this curriculum term, the students, wherever I'm at, they're able to buy into the process, you know? So it's good to be able to see it translate and correlate back into actual reality of the students understanding what's going on, and now they have their products. Scroll up. No,
That's
It's just,
oh, that's it. Okay.
yeah.
And that's where we're at with that. So they designed the website, business presentation, so forth and so on, to kind of prepare them for that next level in the 21st century, you know? Are you on the level?
Yeah, that's awesome, guys. So obviously, I mean, all of you know what companies are, right? You know, in a broad sense, you guys know what companies are. And I know that you also mentioned, I believe it might have been you, Yakim, I'm not sure, but you mentioned that you could own part of a company, right? Or invest in a company. So how you would do that, right, is, as I mentioned before, buying stock in that company. So a stock in a company, as it's mentioned on the screen there, essentially represents ownership. So if you were to buy, let's say, 1 share of stock of Apple, right, the company that makes iPhones, and for argument's sake, let's say there's 500 shares of Apple out there in the world, you would own 1/500th of the company, right, by buying that 1 stock out of the 500 that are out there. So the benefit, right, of owning stock in a company is that you would potentially be able to grow your money by participating in the growth that that company has, which goes in turn of a increase in the stock price. So let's say you bought 1 share of Apple, right, the company that makes the iPhones, at $5 a share. A year later, that share that you bought might be worth, let's say, $10. And at that point, you could say that you've made, right, $5 on the difference between what you bought the stock for versus what you sold it for. So before going to the next slide, I mean, we'll just focus on that last bullet point at the bottom that talks about a public company. It's important to understand that you can't buy stock in all of the companies that are out there in the world. You can only buy stock in those that are so-called public companies. These companies trade on what's called a stock exchange, and there's 2 big ones that are out there that are mentioned on the slide, the NYSE or the NASDAQ. The New York Stock Exchange is what the NYSE stands for, and the NASDAQ is another large exchange that's located in New York. So that, I mean, you guys know what a company is. We just explained what a stock is and that you could buy it in public companies. Does anybody have any questions before we go to the next slide?
Hey, real quick, let them know that there will be a process that they could potentially take their companies public one day as well.
Yes, yeah. So, for example, right, the companies that you guys have all created, right? Those companies might be, private companies at this time, right? A lot of companies start out as private companies that the average person, walking around can't just invest in. However, when companies get big enough, depending on what type of company you are, they normally will have the decision to make if they want to go public or stay as a private company. So let's say you guys, right, you launch your companies and your company gets big enough in 5-10 years from now that there might be interest from people wanting to invest in your company. At that point, it might be a decision where you as the business owner or a representative of the business might want to take your company public and have stock or ownership in your company listed for sale so that people all across, not even the United States, but across the world can buy part of your company and invest in you and your company. And they would do that, right, because they believe in you and that your company is going to grow over time, in turn making the company money and making the investor or the person giving you the money, right, to buy the share of ownership money as well. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
All right. So let's go to the next slide, Patrick. I think Holly's going to take the next one. Let's go to the next one here.
Yeah, so I guess this is more of a fun slide. Do any of you recognize you guys?
Yeah.
Yes. Who do you think these are, or what do they represent?
M&M's.
Yeah, awesome. Mm-hmm. I think we could go to the next slide, but and you know that this is
Kisses. Yeah.
a Hershey Kiss. Yeah. I think next slide. Sorry. So Mars Incorporated is a private company and they own M&Ms. However, Hershey's is a public company and they own the Hershey Kiss. So that would be the difference between a private and a public company. And this is just to show another example of the difference between the two. I think we could go next slide. Yeah, so I'm sure many of you recognize these company logos. So when you're thinking of stocks to buy, it is a good first step to think about the products and services you use every day. So for example, Dunkin' Donuts. Personally, I go to Dunkin' Donuts very often to get my iced coffee. So I might want to invest in Dunkin' Donuts because I love their coffee and I know that every time I go, it's busy. So it could turn Dunkin' Donuts into a company making more money, which in turn would likely make their stock price increase. And if their stock price increases, in the end, I would make more money from that as well.
Yeah, so we'll go one more slide ahead because what Holly just talked about kind of leads us into the next slide. So selecting companies, right, what to consider. How do we select companies or stocks to buy, right, to buy an interest in them? There are some questions that we must ask ourselves before buying stock in a company. First question, right, that's listed here, what do they sell, right? So Mars that Holly just mentioned, or Hershey's, right? They make candy and candy-like products. The second question, do people want the product or do they need the product? So let's talk about Hershey's, right? So they make all different types of candy. Do we think that people might necessarily need, you know, the products that they make and the candy that they make, or want them? That's another question that is helpful to ask ourselves. Finally, we want to ask, you know, who their competitors are. So an example is below right there, right? Google and Yahoo. They both, you know, are companies that do very similar things and offer very similar products and services to their consumers, right? To their buyers and people that are out there. So they're in competition with each other, right? One of them's trying to do, you know, the same thing that the other one's trying to do. So who's going to do it better, right? So that's another good question to ask before deciding on a company to buy stock in. Are there any other questions that any of you, anyone could shout this out, you might ask yourself when determining what stock and companies you want to buy?
Any stocks, any companies, anything? Okay, say GameStop. They're saying GameStop. Yep.
Yes. So if you were interested in buying GameStop, right? Buying stock in GameStop, what are some questions you might ask yourself? Maybe you'll ask yourself, who does GameStop compete with, right? Do they compete with other gaming companies that are out there? Do you think that GameStop is going to do better than those companies or worse than those companies? What do they sell, right? That's the biggest question. I mean, we know they sell games, right? But they also sell gaming systems. I think they sell like different hard, like action figures and stuff, right, in the stores.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another question, right? We might ask. And then the second question, right, that's on the slide here, do people want it or need it, right? Do people need these video games, or is there just a want for these video games out there?
It's just a want.
So does anybody have any other questions? Let's say you're thinking about buying GameStop. Any other questions you might ask yourself?
Every time you go on, how you see what's going on around there?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. I mean, a perfect thing, right, might be walking into a GameStop that's in, down in Florida by you guys. How is business? Is there a lot of people walking in versus walking out? Does it look like, there's a lot of inventory on the shelves, right? A lot of product there? Or is there not a lot of product on the shelves? I mean, those are all questions that are worth asking ourselves when thinking about what stocks to buy. So I know Google and Yahoo Finance, right, are on your screen that you have. So you can get some of this information on Google Finance and Yahoo Finance, as well as the company's website. So if you're interested in buying GameStop stock, you might want to go to, let's say, Google Finance and look up GameStop stock and see how much does GameStop stock cost. What has the stock done in the last week? What has it done in the last month? And then you could go right to the GameStop website and see what their owners and chief executive officer, right, their CEO, are saying about the company right now. Because those all go into, or should go into, your decision-making process behind buying stocks. And when you guys do, this game, right, the stock exchange game, the stock market game, this is information and questions that you want to be asking yourself before buying stock in the game.
Perfect. Sounds great. And I just wanted to touch on real quick. They're so well rounded. I even started introducing them to cryptocurrencies. I just published this one book. It's a Crypto King's Investor Starter Guide, how to buy cryptocurrency and things of that nature. So they're well advanced. I'm even introducing them to the NFT market via OpenSea and things of that nature. So just so you understand, we really appreciate the presentation today. And they have to cut out real soon to get back to other classroom duties. But yeah, we really appreciate everything. Definitely go buy my book. It's a good seller right now. And anytime we could do another one, feel free to keep us in mind. They're going to start more actively trading. I just wanted to get this over with first. I think they've actually made some money with the stocks they picked in the beginning of the year. So again, Tyler, Holly, to the rest of the SIFMA Foundation, Living for Stock Market Game, we really appreciate everything. We know it's kind of a lot of hurdles we had to go around and rearrange some time and stuff like that, but we really appreciate everything. Students, show your appreciation.
Thank you so much, Tyler. Holly.
No worries. You're welcome. It was our absolute pleasure. If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to let your teacher, Mr. Glover, know. He could reach out to us directly and we could answer those questions. Even if it's like a simple question, right? You're in the stock market game. Should I buy this stock or this stock? we could, set up another time to talk about it, or I could send some information on that stock to Mr. Glover. So any questions at all, feel free to ask. Don't hesitate whatsoever. It was a pleasure speaking to all of you. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and I'm sure Holly would say the same.
Yep.
Can I ask a quick question, please? Quick question?
Yes. Yep,
All
no
right.
worries.
I don't know if you can help me. It's just that has been bothering me a lot lately. I just don't want to know who can tell me the real truth. When it comes with investment and pension, I'm hearing a lot of people saying that investment is better, and some people say that pensions are better for administrators. Is there anything? Do you know anything about that, or something that we might talk offline?
Yeah, that's something we could talk offline about. Patrick, if you could send
I will.
Mr. Judy there, my email information, we could take that offline and we can talk about that.
All right,
Yeah,
now awesome.
it's a big concern, Tyler. I have a question pertaining to that too. So we'll talk with him first, and then I'll reach out to you later on regarding that. Yeah, it's a big issue in our district and in the state. You have the FRS, and then they have another pension, and a lot of people aren't well-rounded like us, so they really don't understand what's going on. And one kind of like speaks to the tone where if you should pass in the event, if you set up one way, stuff will go on and live on to your kids or what have you. Then there's alternative ones with just different language that if you choose one package, it takes you to a totally different direction and they look identical,
Yeah, that makes sense. Definitely shoot me an email and we'll be more than happy to talk on the phone about that.
And I want to say thank you so much for the time that you spend with our kids, and anything that you can do, anything we can do, just let us know. But we do appreciate you and Holly Logan for the time you spend with our kids. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mr.
Our
Glover,
pleasure.
What'd you say, Holly?
you've been so great.
Oh, thank you so much, Holly.
Yeah.
Thank you. You're welcome back anytime.
Yes. So nice meeting you all. Bye.
Take care.
Take care. What we're doing? Yes.